Hello, and thanks for joining me. My name is Michael Bentley, and I'm here to show you how we can use Cribl to transform Windows event logs to OCSF compliant data. We're going to do that using Cribl Stream. So just from the top here, I'm in the Stream user interface already. I've logged in, and I'm going to go into my default worker group, and I'll go to Data and Sources. I'll go to System and Internal, and I'll go to Data Gen. Now this is where I configured some Win event log generation. So basically, I don't have Windows event logs sending through Sentinel, right, or sending through Cribl at the moment, but Cribl supports data generators, which will allow you to mimic data, and it'll create sample data for me. I can choose how many events to send per second. And there's a lot of other options in here in terms of data generators, such as Palo Alto, Sentinel syslog, SNMP traps, a lot of things you can do. And just for this use case, instead of having to wire up a Splunk forwarder and send the data in, I can just generate it myself. And so once I've saved that and enabled it and deployed it, we can actually come in and look at the live data here, and I'll capture, and we'll see what that data looks like. So we'll zoom in a little bit, and you can see it's, event IDs, event level, event names, the raw data. This is basically what it looks like when it's coming out of Sentinel. But that's okay for this demonstration purposes. When it comes from a Splunk Universal Forwarder, it'll look a little bit different. But that's no problem. It doesn't matter how it looks in the beginning. The trick is how do we transform it to be OCSF compliant? And in this case, if it's a one event log, we can just run it through a pack. And I'll show you what that looks like. If we go to Processing and Packs, we can add a pack, and we can go to Add from Dispensary, and here we can just search for OCSF. And here you're going to see a bunch of the pre-built packs that are ready to go. So we've got Proofpoint, Checkpoint, Zscaler, ASA, right? A whole lot of them in here. There's some things in here to help you make sure you've got it going right. And then this one I've already installed here. It's the Splunk Forwarder Classic Events to OCSF. So to install it, all we do is we click on it. We click on Add Pack. So that's real easy. You'll see how quick that is when we do it. No big deal. Now we've added a new pack. You see that one's installed too. And the one I'm going to use for this demonstration is the Splunk Forwarder Windows Classic. So now that we've got the pack installed, we need to wire up our data source to that pack. And the way we do that is in data routes. So under routing, I have data routes. And here I've created one. And I gave it a weird name. We can call it something else. Win event log to OCSF instead of what I had there. But what's really important is this filter I wrote right here. And this is a JavaScript expression that evaluates to true or false. And in this case, if input ID equals that data gen name, then it'll match this filter. Okay. And input ID in this case is preceded by 2 underscores. That means it's an internal Cribl field. It's not actually in my data I'm generating. It's actually an internal Cribl field, but it could be a field in the data I'm generating. This could be a regular expression that looks over my data. It could be a long if then else statement. It's whatever you can write in JavaScript that will evaluate the true or false based on the data that's coming to the routes. Okay, and I've got all my data coming to the routes. So this right here will match that input ID, which should give us just the Sentinel Win event log events. Now, once I've matched it with my filter, it's what do I want to do with it? Well, if I want to transform it, then I'll send it through a pipeline or a pack. And I could just do a pass through where it doesn't do anything to it. I can develop my own packs. I can develop my own pipelines. In this case, we're pressing the easy button. We're just going to use that pack that was provided by Cribl. So that's what's going to transform the data is that pipeline there. The next thing is where do we want to send it? So I can send it to my S3 bucket. I can send it to New Relic. I can send it to Datadog, whatever I have wired up. And there's a ton of destinations, including Splunk. We can send it back to another Cribl node. A lot of options here, but in this case, I just chose dev null for demonstration purposes. I want to be sure that's enabled, and then I click on save, and then I can commit and deploy it. So we'll just put a fake message here and say commit and deploy. All right, so that goes out, and what's happening now is it's deploying this configuration to my worker nodes. And you can have as many worker nodes as you want to in a worker group. In this case, I just have one worker. You can see he's green, check mark up here. So that means he's already got the code and restarted, else that may be red or yellow or something. Instead, it's green, so it's good to go. And that's basically it. Now we can capture data, and we can say where the input ID equals datagen sentinel1 event log. And when we capture, we have the choice to do before the processing, before the routes, before post-processing, before destination. So what's neat is you can add that pack or that pipeline that processes the data. You can add it on the source, which would be pre-processing. You can add it in the routes, which I guess you could call routes or main processing. Or you can add it on your destination. So if you're sending it to Sentinel and you want to process it before you send it to Sentinel, or if you're sending it to Elasticsearch and you want to process it before you send it to Elastic every time something gets sent to Elastic, then you can put it there. And this preview window allows us to see it before each of those places in the pipeline. All right. Now we want to see before the destination. So what's it going to look like before it sends it to dev null in this case? And if I capture that, you'll see everything is now OCSF compliant. There's the actor field, there's the channel, there's the event ID, the event level, provider, all of this stuff. It's much larger than what came in originally, right? Because now it's OCSF compliant. I'll show you one more time. Before the pre-processing pipeline, we had maybe what, 15 fields? I'll count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh, I was really close with 15. All right, so we have 14 fields, and then when we're capturing before the destination, so this would be what would come out of Cribl, you can see there's well more than 14 fields there, and including it's got the all-important actor, right, activity name. It's got the metadata associated with it, such as the product, where it came from, it's Microsoft Windows. So basically, to make my Win event logs that are passing through Cribl Stream OCSF compliant, all I have to do is install that pack and make sure I route my data through that pack. Now what's really cool here, after you capture, just to show you this one extra feature, you can save that as a sample file and call it OCSF compliant, or whatever you want to call it, and save that. And then you can load it up here in this window, in this preview window, and select the pipeline you run it through. So, for example, if I run it through the pass-through pipeline, nothing really happens to it, right? If I run it through another one, something else might happen to it. But if we look at the pack here, right, you'll see that's what's going to come out right here, what's going to happen to the event. It's going to remove that timestamp, and it's going to transform it. So that may not have been the best demo there. Let me do a different one. Let me go to sample data. We'll capture it before the destination, and I'll show you what that preview window really does. Give me just 1 second here. Capture before processing, before all of that. I'll save that as a sample file. Don't worry about the name. All right, and now we can see the in and out side by side. So this would be what you do. You load up some sample data, or you capture some sample data that's already flowing through Cribl Stream, and you can make your changes over here on the left-hand side in your pack, in your pipeline. Let's go ahead and open up this pack right here, right? It sends it to this pipeline, audit activity generic. We'll open up that pipeline. We'll see all these functions that it's using to transform the data. We'll open our capture here. We'll see what it looks like going in, and then when we say out, it'll show us what happens when it comes out. And you can see all these green fields are new fields that have been added based on all this logic we've put on the left-hand side. Now again, this pack was built for us. We didn't have to develop this logic, but we might want to go in and tweak it, right? We might want to change the value of user account type. We could write a JavaScript expression here to say if it's this, then it's that. If it's that, then it's this. We put a lot of options there. But basically, we just use the easy button. We installed the pack, route the data through the pack, come into the preview window, see the before, see the after. And now this is another really cool feature I'll show you is the pipeline diagnostics. This will show us what we've done to our data. In this case, we've increased the length of the data or the size of each event by 152%. We've added, looks like 26 fields. We still have the same number of events, and this would help you know, hey, what my pipeline's doing is adding to it or it's removing from it. And then you can dig in and find out how much time it's going to take it to run through your pipeline. So in this case, those 10 events ran through in 22 milliseconds. And this is in a development environment, right? This VM has one CPU and it's a small CPU. So that's why that takes so long here in this demo. But typically that's a much smaller number there for the amount of time it takes to process. And then you also have the advanced CPU profile that'll show you what each little step in your pipeline or pack took in terms of CPU usage. So anyways, that concludes it. What we would do now, I guess, would be go back to our routes up here in our default worker group. And instead of sending it to dev null, we'd swap it over to send to Splunk or wherever we want it to go. Save it, let it go. That concludes the demo. Thanks for watching.